new Chief Constable promises more police officers on the ground.
The big task for me is to look at whether we've got the right people in the right place, to make sure that we've got enough local presence as well as enough people to deal with the serious threats.
He vows to work with communities to defeat dissident Republicans trying to kill his officers.
And health unions threaten strike action over plans to cut 150 hospital beds in Belfast.
Hello and welcome to the programme this Tuesday evening with Paul Clark and Linda Bryant.
Thank you for joining us. Also on tonight's UTV Live.
Is the Stormont executive about to turn the tap on water charges by 2011?
Even more new hotel rooms for Belfast, plans for a landmark building in the centre of the city.
And there were times today when it looked rather gloomy, but there were glimmers of hope as well. What's in store for the rest of the week? Find out here in 25 minutes.
That's to come later, but first tonight's top story. The new Chief Constable, Matt Baggott, has made a pledge to put more police on the streets. This as he took over at the helm of the PSNI today.
The father of three says he is proud to be wearing his new uniform, but he'll have his work cut out for him and there'll be no time for settling in. Sharon O'Neill reports now on the new Chief Constable's first day in the job. Viewers are warned that the report contains flash photography.
Day one, and in his freshly pressed new uniform, Matt Baggott may look the part, but he knows looking the part will not be enough in his job. The new chief arrives as the PSNI faces severe pressure on several fronts. He's one of the most scrutinised police chiefs in Europe, and one of Matt Baggott's first engagements was a meeting with the policing board, the body which appointed him.
It is a huge privilege to be here. I am immensely grateful for the opportunities that have been given to me as a professional police officer to become Chief Constable. And I'm very mindful of the expectations that are now quite rightly placed on my shoulders. I want to say also how proud I am this morning to be wearing the uniform of the Police Service of Northern Ireland, how proud I am to be working with the Policing Board and to have been appointed, and how proud I am to be serving all the people of Northern Ireland with impartiality.
The 50-year-old is a strong supporter of community policing, and he's hoping communities here will help him. What would you say to the public who are concerned about lack of resources, are concerned about rising crime, are concerned about dissidents appearing to go into the likes of villages like Mike, able to do what they want?
I'm going to be listening, I'm going to be speaking to people, and I'm going to be picking up those concerns. But I said at the beginning, I think that the big task for me is to look at whether we've got the right people in the right place, to make sure that we've got enough local presence as well as enough people to deal with the serious threats, and is that resource in the right place. Secondly, our policing presence, it's got to be even more responsive. Are we looking at the promises we've been making to the public and are we fulfilling them? Let me say, though, this is not something I'm starting. This is work that's been ongoing for a long time. There's an awful lot of good people doing some very good work in neighbourhoods at the moment. I'm quite astounded sometimes by the effectiveness and the courage of my colleagues already working in communities across Northern Ireland. So presence is a resource in the right place. I need to have time to listen and assess those issues. The amount of work is being
He knows people want to see more officers on our streets.
Clearly, as Chief Constable, I shall be asking for an adequate budget, and I will be looking to the future, not just for this year, but for the next 3 to 5 years, and how we use those resources and how we deal with it. There are a number of things, though, at this moment in time which are my priority, and that is to make sure that we are getting the best use of the resources we have. And that's why I've come here, hopefully with a track record of challenging bureaucracy, challenging processes, looking at the whole way in which regulation has been taken forward. And again, those are discussions I'll be having, because I need to free people up to improve that policing presence.
Clearly nervous, the new Chief Constable was playing his cards close to his chest. But one of his immediate priorities will be the secret report into an alleged shoot-to-kill policy here by the RUC in the 80s.
And I shall be taking some very strong legal advice. I shall be speaking to colleagues about how that's being managed. It may be that I will be requesting some more time, but on my first morning, I'm very mindful of the sensitivities of the past. But I'm also here to take policing forward into the future, and some of that will be how I deal with those issues. But at this moment in time, I'll be speaking to my legal team, speaking to colleagues, and I'll reach some judgments after that.
There were fears dissidents would mark Mr Baggott's first day with a bomb attack, and police were taking no chances with checkpoints all over Northern Ireland. An alert in South Belfast this morning turned out to be a false alarm. Matt Baggott may have received a warm welcome from the PSNI and the Policing Board, but this security alert behind me is a clear message from those who want to make his time here as uncomfortable as possible. Sharon O'Neill, UTV Live, South Belfast.
And Army technical officers have spent the day dealing with a device which was found a few hundred yards from Lavin Orange Hall near Armoy in North Antrim. The DUP's John Finlay has blamed dissident Republicans and says the device was capable of killing innocent passers-by.
Well, a severe threat from dissident Republicans and a reduced budget are just two of the difficult tasks which Matt Baggott will have to tackle. Jane Lockery now looks at some of the challenges facing the new Chief Constable.
Matt Baggott knows he has a tough job ahead of him, and he has to do that job with a lot less money. Dedicated to community policing, the 50-year-old father of three assumes command of the PSNI, which is millions of pounds in the red.
We know that we've got a shortfall of £13 million. We have another set of cuts of £17 million to come from. So that's 30 million in total. We also have a number of liabilities to do with hearing loss and various other things, all of which means that we're deeply in the red.
As Matt Baggott arrives in Northern Ireland, the threat from dissident Republicans is described as severe. Earlier this month, a £600 bomb was discovered in Forkhill in South Armagh, and weeks prior to that, in the nearby village of Mike, armed gunmen set up a roadblock. 6 months ago, dissident Republicans murdered 2 soldiers at Mazarine Barracks in Antrim and shot dead Constable Stephen Carroll.
Top of the agenda in the Chief Constable's tray should be the dissident threat, and very clearly leading on from that, the Chief Constable has to deal with very serious resourcing issues, very serious issues about retraining, issues around the personal protection weapons for former members of the security forces, and indeed also the full-time reserve.
The new Chief Constable is a keen advocate of community policing, with the 7,500 officers spending 60% of their time filling out forms. He's vying to get more back on the streets.
We do get routine complaints from people who are saying they do not get a quick enough response from the police, particularly in regard to burglaries and antisocial behaviour. That is an absolute priority of the Policing Board and has to be a priority for Matt Baggott.
Another pressing issue facing Matt Baggott is the court order to hand over top-secret reports on the alleged RUC shoot-to-kill policy, disclosing the truth of policing in the past.
He's under now a court order to hand over Stalker Sampson. He should do so. It would blow away the cobwebs of the past and set a big standard for others with information in state agencies and the leadership of terror organisations that they too must disclose the truth of the past. That would build confidence and would actually say to the public, there's a new man in town.
A firm believer in local people being in charge of local policing, the new Chief Constable has taken the reins ahead of the politically sensitive transfer of security responsibilities from Westminster to Stormont, a move that is expected in the next 6 months. As Matt Baggott leaves the Policing Board here to start his new job as Chief Constable, he is aware of the many difficult tasks ahead of him. Indeed, one former senior police officer told me he will have to have the wisdom of Solomon and the patience of Job. Jane Lockery, UTV Live, at Policing Board headquarters in Belfast.
I'm joined by the former Deputy Chief Constable, Paul Leighton, who retired in May. What do you consider the biggest challenge Matt Baggott faces?
Well, I think Matt in his first few days faces 2 major challenges. The first one everyone's already been talking about, and that's the challenge of trying to police an area which still has dissident Republican activity, but at the same time push forward the agenda of community policing and try to put more police officers out on the beat, more police officers getting to know the public and becoming known by the public in local areas. And the second challenge for him, I think, is around the financial situation that the police find themselves in, and the oversight and demands that are placed on policing, particularly in Northern Ireland, that probably are over and above what he will have known in England.
How can he do everything he wants on a reducing budget?
Well, Matt is a very capable officer, and I've known him for many years. I have no doubt he will have his own thoughts. But already within the PSNI, there was a lot of work being done about how we could reduce bureaucracy, how we could put more officers back out onto the streets, how we could replace officers with civilian members of staff in certain areas to free up police officer time. So there's a lot of work already done, and he has a very capable top team and an excellent deputy in Judith Gillespie, and I'm sure that they have plans and they will talk them through over the next few days before they start to put anything